Aloha. Welcome to the Mr. G podcast. This is episode number 8. We're doing this every single day. I actually thought yesterday was Sunday. And so half the day I lived my day like it was Sunday, but it was actually Monday. So I got a little caught up on the weekend a little longer than expected. Congratulations to the Denver Nuggets for sweeping the Los Angeles Lakers last night, 4-0 in a game four for the first time ever in the Denver Nuggets franchise history. They've made it to the NBA Finals with their star player, Jokic, aka the Joker. Not many people would have predicted the Denver Nuggets to sweep the Los Angeles Lakers in the Western Conference Finals. Most people picked the Lakers to win that series. If you look at the tweets that I said in my earlier podcast editions, I was one of the only people that said Denver was going to sweep them 4-0. And today's game, we have the Eastern Conference Finals. Jimmy Butler and the Miami Heat are playing the Boston Celtics, Jaylen Brown and the Boston Celtics, and they are in Miami. It's game 4. Miami's up 3-0. Miami is actually the 8th seed. They're trying to be one of the only 8 seeds to make it to the NBA Finals. They're going to try to sweep the Boston Celtics tonight. I don't know when the last time we had a conference finals where both conference finals ended up in sweeps, but in 4-0 sweeps. It hasn't happened, I believe, since maybe the San Antonio Spurs and the New Jersey Nets back in 2005. But it will be an interesting NBA Finals. And if it's the Denver Nuggets and the Miami Heat, well, it's going to be the Denver Nuggets. And it's looking like it's the Miami Heat unless the Celtics pull off a miracle comeback. But that doesn't seem like it's going to happen. So I'll be happy with either team winning the NBA championship. Denver Nuggets winning their first NBA championship, or Jimmy Butler capping off the most legendary playoff run in NBA history. So either way, that would be great. And I'm looking forward to that in the next week. June is the time for the NBA Finals. The finals are starting a little earlier this year. It's May 22nd, May 23rd today. What is today's date? Is it May 22nd, May 23rd? Either way, we have a week and a half of the finals, so there'll just be a couple games in June this year. And I'm looking forward to a wonderful NBA Finals. Keanu, that was so not good. All right. So, Keanu, can you not? All right, back to the podcast here. Yesterday, I was earlier this week. This is episode 8, so I've been doing this for about a week now, and I love doing this. To say I just enjoy doing this is an understatement. I love doing these podcasts. They're only 20 minutes long, and they aren't getting many viewers. I have a whole TikTok page, Mr. G Podcast, and like I said, I upload it on all the major podcast platforms, but they aren't receiving many listeners. But that is fine, because either way, I enjoy doing it. One reason why I enjoy doing it, because I'm good at it. Uh, and that's not talking high on myself. You know, I'm not good at a lot of things. I'm not good at working with my hands. I'm not good at keeping my apartment clean. I'm not good at organization. But one thing I am good at is speaking. And these podcasts, it feels like when I start a new sales job, and I know I see other people around selling products, and I start feeling my way around the job, and I realize this is something that I can do. This is something that I'm going to be good at. And there's not really much that will stop me except for my own self-sabotage or outside circumstances beyond my control. But it's a good feeling knowing that you're doing something that you're good at and that you also enjoy doing. There's been jobs that I've had that I was not good at, and I dreaded going to those jobs because I was not good at them. And it's the exact opposite with something like this. I'll admit one of the first few episodes, is we're on episode number 8 today, but one of the first few episodes when I was finished, these are only 20 minutes long. So when I finished the 20 minutes, I got quite emotional. I'm an emotional person to begin with, but I got emotional because I know that despite not having a script, despite not planning on what I was going to say, I came out and I gave a really great, worthy, well-produced 20-minute performance. And the naysayers have been always trying to pick and point and try to find things wrong with me. And if somebody out there is looking for flaws in somebody else, then the real flaw is the person trying to find flaws in somebody else. So I'll have people like, oh, well, he only sounds good because of the microphone. Everybody sounds good with a microphone. Or, oh, well, he's just talking for 20 minutes, just like when I was feeding the cats. And, I built a community on TikTok of, 40,000 people. And it's just like, oh, it's just because of the cats. They're just watching because of the cats. It's just because of the cats. Or when, I received a lot of attention from the opposite sex, in my 20s and 30s. I remember like I had a roommate once, this being like, well, it's just because he's tall. That's the only reason. It's because he's tall. That's the only reason. Like, okay, if that makes you feel better about yourself, but we're not chasing broads in my 20s, are we? We're doing a podcast now, a 20-minute podcast every day, and they've been going really well. Despite not having thousands of viewers, I do live stream the behind the scenes on the podcast every day. But despite not having thousands of viewers, it's really good. My book does not have thousands of readers, but it's also really good. Keanu, don't you think my book's good, Keanu? Keanu, do you want to read my book? Because we're not eating treats at all. We're not. We're just going to be reading my book, Keanu. All right, Keanu? Keanu, could you not? Look. I would never, hurt my cats or punish, but I got a drop of water here. Keanu. He hates it when I blow on him. Keanu, stay away from the podcast. All right. So today's podcast, we're going to talk about success. And I started out by talking about how this podcast is good for me. It's something that I can do. And of course, people that don't like me, like literally the first day or two, some of my neighbors were yelling, shut up. I'm in my own apartment with my windows and doors shut. I'm allowed to speak. Shut up, no talking. And the people that don't want me to speak are the people that know that I'm damn good at it. The people that know that I have a beautiful voice. All right. There, I said it. I said it. Okay. I'm beautiful. My mommy told me so. No. People have always told me, women in particular have told me, you have a wonderful sounding voice. I could listen to you all day. They've told me that since my telemarketing days, and I'm not trying to reinforce it. I'm trying to tell you that it's taking a long time to get to the point in my life where I know what I'm good at. I told you the things that I'm not good at. There are things that I'm good at and things that I'm not good at. They say the best piece of advice is 3 words from Latin: know thyself. All right. It's the oldest piece of advice, and it's one of the best pieces of advice. Know thyself. You want to know what you're good at and what you're not good at. And winners, people that are successful, they are also quit. They're quitters as well. They know when to give up. Winners give up. Hear me out. Okay. Know thyself, and winners give up. All right. When you're going through life and you're a young person, and if you don't have any if you have very little parental influence or guidance, and you're running on back to school specials and 30-minute sitcoms which are supposed to teach you a message, you come out of childhood or into adolescence thinking that if you put your mind to something, you can do anything. And in America, you can be president, or you could be a doctor or a lawyer. And they teach kids this, they indoctrinate them at a very young age. Like, what do you want to be when you grow up? No kid says trash man, but trash men get paid good money. If you go to an inner city school and you ask all the kids, what do you want to be when they grow up? An astronaut, a president. They don't even know what a senator is. A famous movie star, a famous singer. Just all these top-notch jobs, and no kids like, oh, I want to be a janitor like my father. And if these kids a janitor, if that kid's father's a janitor, he's damn lucky. I was in a conversation with my girlfriend the other day, and I said something that she looked down on me on. And I told her, when I was working as a teacher once, I was teaching a middle school of not disadvantaged, but kind of delinquent kids. They weren't like handicapped or special ed, but they were put in there for behavior problems. And I would bake them cookies too. But that has nothing to do with it. But one day I was just talking about something like fast food or McDonald's or something, and one of the kids yells out like instantaneously, not even thinking about it. He's like, my mom works at McDonald's. And I, not even thinking about it, try not to laugh. I'm like, you know, because where I came from on the mainland in the United States, and growing up in school, it was always like an insult, like, oh, when you grow up, you're going to end up working at McDonald's, uh, and in the mainland and where I'm from in the Texas suburbs, the majority of the people that work at McDonald's or fast food are teenagers. It's different in Hawaii where a lot of other grown adults work those kind of jobs. So that was a mistake on me. And my girlfriend Jamie, very sensitive, said, I don't really like how you laugh like that, because if a mother is working and putting food and clothes on their child's baby, that's nothing that you should mock. And even if maybe that's the best job that they can have. And she was right about that. But like I said, it's just where I come from, that instinct. But still, I don't think any mother should have to work at a fast food job. I think there's enough technology that nobody should have to work at a fast food job. There should be just a robot there. And a lot of the times, the corporation doesn't want necessarily your employment. So many jobs are just busy work. What you're actually selling is your dignity. They have the corny ass uniforms and the name tag, and you're a walking commercial. So really, they could have machines, automate all of these fast food jobs. They could have a machine that makes a pizza. They could have a machine that makes a hamburger. They have them in Japan. They have them all over the world. But in the United States, you have these corporations that just want to buy people's and individuals' dignity. They want to buy your time. They want to buy you 40 hours a week. And if you want healthcare, if you want to be able to see the doctor, you got to, be a stormtrooper for Walmart or Burger King or Amazon or whatever the company is. And as automation comes in and slowly the jobs go away, then some of them are still busy work jobs. There's a big argument in Congress right now where the technology to have automated trucks, 18 wheelers, semi trucks drive and to transport goods across the United States. And it'd be much more efficient than the current status quo. However, the number one job for Americans, non-college graduates, is truck driver, and that's the number one paying job for non-college graduates in the United States. So you're at a standstill, and this is on cross to party lines. There's people on the left and there's people on the right. They say, oh, well, we need to keep these jobs because they're so important. And it's so important for somebody to have a job and for somebody to have a meaning to get up in the morning. That's their argument. I don't really believe that argument at all. I don't think you should ever suppress technology. And if the technology is available, then there's no reason to suppress it. If the technology is available, then there's no reason to create busy work jobs. All right. With that being said, the main point I wanted to make is, like I said, winners quit and winners know when to quit, and know thyself. All right. Also, another thing, winners fail. I'll go into detail about these points. But the most successful people in this life, in this world, they've tried many things. They're a jack of all trades, but they've also failed at many things. If you look at like a lot of my haters, like there's some standing outside my apartment right now, like literally, like they don't try new things. They're afraid to be embarrassed, but they are embarrassing. They share a one-bedroom apartment with their mother, father, uncle, sister, brother. They share a toilet with 5 people, grown adults. They're a walking embarrassment, but they would always be afraid to do new things or to be laughed at by their family or their peer group. And so they will never be successful in life. That kid down there that's talked so much shit, he will be less successful than his father. And his father raised a family in a 1-bedroom apartment with like 4 or 5 adults. And the kids that grew up in these apartments, I taught some of them as a public high school teacher. They grow up with communication problems. They grow up extremely rude. They grow up not having any idea about privacy, or not any idea of separation. What's the word I'm looking for? That like a lot of, they don't have any idea of privacy or boundaries. Like the kid, all right, he must be 22 years old. He's standing outside my apartment right now. I'm getting a restraining order on him, but he must be 22, 23 years old. So from the age of 12 or 13, he lived in this one bedroom apartment from the most formidable years of his life. And now that he's even a grown adult, he can't even leave it, even though there's already like multiple adults here. He can't just leave the nest. It's like he's that weak of a person. He's that small of a person. And those type of people, they're afraid to learn. They're afraid to leave the nest. They're afraid to take chances. People that are successful in this world, people that are extremely intelligent, people that are well-rounded, they've tried many things and they've failed at many things. You're never going to write a book unless you're willing to write a bad book and edit it and rewrite it and rewrite it again and rewrite it again. You have to write the sentences that you know don't work to figure out what the sentences are that do work. It's the same with writing a song. It's the same with baking cookies. You have to figure out what, without following a recipe. If you're baking cookies, you need to figure out how much flour to put in, how little sugar to put in, and you have to make mistakes to be able to improve in life. And like I said before, winners also know when to quit. All right. Know thyself. You want to know what you're good at, because when kids are growing up today and when an adult tells a child, you can be anything you want. If an adult tells an inner city kid, hey, you can be president of the United States. Well, that's not exactly true, because 9 out of the last 10 presidents have all graduated from Yale or Harvard. Okay. With the one exception, I think everybody knows who the orange guy is. All right. The other 9, they all graduated from Yale or Harvard. There's a special club. Somebody did a special for their school assignment, a high school student, where they determined that the majority of the last 20 presidents have all been related. And if you're from an inner city school and neither of your parents went to college and neither of your parents can even read, that's not on me. I'm not putting them down. But statistically speaking, your odds of even going to college are slim to none. The vast majority of people, if your parents did not go to college, then there's a 90% chance that you won't go to college. And that's just a fact, and that's just the way it is, because young people are extremely malleable, and people that don't go to college, people that don't encourage reading or learning, like the people in these apartments, people that mock intelligence, people that mock, bettering themselves because afraid of ridicule from the people that they like, that they're sharing an existence with, to the point where the kids grow up with mad communication problems and not having any idea of distance or privacy. Like I don't even live on the same floor as them. What are they like? Anyways, the fact of the matter is, quit learn people that are successful, they know thyself. All right. Now I'm going to give you a couple personal examples. Growing up without a mother or father, me and my twin brother, we were fed the bullshit from the after school specials. If you put your mind to something, you could be anything in life. You can be president, you can be doctor, you can be an NBA player, you can be anything you want to be. And so we actually, all you have to do is practice, just practice and give it all and you'll succeed. And that's a myth given to people, and especially in the United States. And the fact of the matter is, like I said about the inner city kid of being president. Oh, what about Barack Obama? Barack Obama wasn't an inner city kid. Barack Obama went to one of the most expensive private schools in the United States. Barack Obama, had a silver spoon up his ass. Barack Obama was one of the 9 presidents that went to Harvard or Yale. So yeah, if you're an inner city kid, especially now, the way how corrupt the United States is, you're not going to be president. You're lucky if you go to a community college, then you're exceeding expectations. All right. And that's just the way it is. All right. Personally, me and my twin brother, all right, our father was a college professor. He was a complete sociopath asshole, but he was a doctor, college professor, Dr. Brandt. Our mother also received her master's degree. Our sisters, both of them received, professional degrees. So everybody in my family, in the recent family, they're all been really good at school, with the exception for my twin brother. But like I said, we didn't have any influence growing up. But so that's where I should have been concentrating on what I was good at, school. However, growing up, feeding the bullshit. You can be anything you want to be. So me and my brother, we both liked basketball a lot. And then I'm 6'2", 6'3". So I'm pretty tall, not tall for a basketball player, but tall for the average person, taller than most people. So every day we would practice basketball for hours and hours a day, for 2, 3 hours a day. My brother would take like 500 jump shots every day. I would, practice my post moves every day. A 6'2" post player, yeah, that's pretty rare. And we were sure about it. If we practiced every day for hours, every single day, we would eventually make it to the NBA. Our skills would catch up. And then we were fed bullshit. We're like, yeah, the people that get practice the most, they're the ones that make it to the NBA. And the fact of the matter is we had no chance of making it to the NBA. My plan was to do really well in basketball, get good in basketball, then get a college scholarship to the University of Texas, and then get drafted to the NBA. That is just the biggest pipe dream ever. And an adult should have took me aside and said, hey, Gregory, you're practicing basketball 2, 3 hours every single day, but what is it really good for? And I was practicing incorrectly. I was shooting with like layups and jump shots with and drives to the basket with my left hand, jumping off my left foot, and I was shooting jump shots with my right hand and finger rolls with my right hand, jumping off my right foot. So I didn't even have a coach tell me which foot to jump off of, and I'm paying for that in my knee now. Uh, but having fed that fucking bullshit from sitcoms and after school specials, like I said, and like posters in the school hallway, you can do it if you put your mind to it, you can succeed. And there's some truth in that. But when you tell a kid that over and over, they think that they can be in the NBA. How many like 5 foot something high school students are across the United States right now thinking that same thing? They're like, if I practice hard enough, I work hard enough, I can make it to the NBA. When the fact is, 99.9999% of all players that have ever played in the NBA have been over 6 feet tall. But there's those exceptions, and those exceptions are so rare. And somebody should have just took me aside and said, hey, all this time that you guys are doing playing basketball, it's not really worth it. There's no athletic intelligence is something that's hereditary. And my mother wasn't an athlete. She was very uncoordinated, actually. My father wasn't an athlete. He was, over 6 feet tall, but he wasn't an athlete. Neither of my siblings. It's not something that was in my DNA. Whereas education and learning and reading and speaking and writing, lots of lawyers in my background, lots of doctors, lots of professors in my, family history. Not many basketball players, not many baseball players. So you really know thyself is the most helpful piece of advice. And wasting all that time playing basketball, what good did it do? There's been a few times as an adult where I've been able to show my basketball skills, but spending all that time, those hours every day playing basketball, wouldn't that have been more useful reading or learning or teaching or working on my grades? That's where I was afraid and embarrassed. I was embarrassed of having glasses and making good grades. My brother and their friends would make fun of me. They would encourage me not to make good grades. It wasn't cool to make good grades. And that's something that I look back on, and it's ridiculous as an adult. But then you want to fit in, you're still trying to find an identity. And if you don't have a stable family background, you're going to go with the first group that gives you attention, regardless. The ones that give you the Marlboro cigarettes, the ones that, that you get the bad habits from, right? So I feel, a lot of young people, you don't want to tell them that, you want them to be realistic, because we all have a certain amount of time. Even if they're a young person, they still have a certain amount of time. I wish an adult would have took me aside and been like, hey, instead of putting your energy into basketball, why don't you check out this acting club, or why don't you check out this arts club? So a lot of times in life, you either have somebody teach you something, or you find out yourself. You either have somebody tell you the stove is hot, or you go up and put your hand on the fucking stove, right? And if you don't have parents, but if you put your hand on the stove, you will remember that it's hot, and it's the best way to make things stick. All right. So going on, know thyself. All right. So me and Michael, we didn't make it as NBA superstars. And then we come about 18, 19, and like, oh, okay, looks like, we're not going to be in the NBA. Okay, I don't know why we thought that. I can barely even dunk. And but yeah, at least we're good at basketball, so we can still do that on the weekends, and it's good exercise and whatever gets us to sleep at night, right? But now we've discovered something new, the guitar. Or we discovered smoking weed too, but also the guitar. And so I start learning the guitar, and so I learn basic chords, D, G, A, but I practice every day, and we're under the same bullshit mantra: if you practice every day, you can be anything, you can do anything. And we're in Texas, right? So we're listening to Stevie Ray Vaughan, and my brother gets a guitar too, except he doesn't learn the chords. Instead, he like learns every string, like how to pluck on every string, but not melodically. So my brother like picks up the guitar and does things that no human has ever done before with it. And that sounds like weird, which it is, but it's not disgusting or anything. It's just like he would take the guitar and just look at it like very analytically, like dun 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 dun. And they called him the pluck away plucker because for hours he would just add a tune, add a key, no melody, no songs, just boop, 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 boop. It's even hard to explain. Like you have to be there, and people would just like cover their ears, like, what the fuck is he doing? I'm like, I don't know. He's learning the guitar his own way. But me, I took the more conventional route. I learned, all the basic chords, and I learned some easy Tom Petty free falling and Nirvana, about a girl, and the Beatles, a little help from my friends, simple songs, right? And I was really proud of that. And one of the best memories I have of my mom is her sitting on the couch and me right after I learned the acoustic guitar and playing like songs like Beatles songs and old songs that she would know, and having her guess the song. And Michael got really jealous. My twin brother's like, oh, that chords, I don't. And he's like, I hate chords. I'll never learn chords. The same like he was with an email when he's like determined. Like I'm like, one day you're gonna get an email address, and he's like, I'll never get an email address, never, ever, ever. But the point of the story is, me and my brother, spent hours playing the guitar, practicing the guitar as much as we can, hours per day, just like we did with basketball. But music, like athletic intelligence, music intelligence is something that's hereditary. It's something that's passed down. So if your parents were really good at the guitar, there's a good chance that you will also be good at the guitar. With me and my brother, neither of our parents were musicians. Neither of them played the guitar. My mom thought I had some music prowess at the piano when I was like 3 or 4, but they never, got me into that. And in general, we didn't have that in our DNA. And when we were learning the guitar, we had to use tuners to tune the guitar. We didn't have perfect pitch. We couldn't like learn songs very easily like my brother wouldn't even learn any chords. Like I said, I could just learn the basic chords, and I could come up with like a lot of different riffs and stuff, but they would like be a riff from a song that I heard a few years ago a lot of times and stuff. But it just wasn't in our DNA. And I wrote a few songs myself, but we would also spend hours a day practicing the guitar, and like what was it worth, and my brother actually smashed like 5 guitars just because he had anger problems, and whenever he would get mad he would just smash guitar. I remember he smashed a purple acoustic guitar I had, then he smashed a 12-string guitar, and then he smashed like a little a baby guitar that I had, not a ukulele but a baby guitar. And yeah, just to, like, and looking back, like what good was that, like it was basically like I caught on the guitar a lot faster, and people would tell him to shut the fuck up, but me, they'd be like, oh yeah, play that riff, play this riff. And so him, out of jealous or rage. But the hours that we spent playing the guitar, the hours we spent practicing basketball, what good is it for? I have a guitar here, I've never tuned it or played it. What good does it do? Am I gonna like, impress my girlfriend, like play some song? Maybe, but it's a novelty act at best. And you really only have a certain amount of time in life. So a few years later, when I enrolled in school at the University of Texas and First Austin Community College, I had to make straight A's to get in the University of Texas journalism program. And it's a very competitive program, so to speak. So hours were very important because you had to go to school in certain hours, certain classes, and I would always have a part-time job. So time meant a lot more. I didn't have 3 hours a day to play and practice basketball. I didn't have 3 hours a day to play and learn guitar chords. Time was worth a lot more. And as you become older, time becomes more and more valuable. So in school, I learned, to manage my time better, and I learned not to waste time. I've, never wasted time playing video games, but practicing the guitar, basically a waste of time. Practicing my basketball post moves for hours every single day, not the best use of time. And all of that time that I spent playing basketball, all that time I learned on the guitar, what if that was used to writing? What if that was used to making videos or making short skits? Wouldn't that be a more efficient use of my time? That brings me back to this podcast. I came up with the idea talking to my girlfriend on a FaceTime, and I'm always like telling great stories and making her laugh and stuff. And it's an enjoyable use of my time, something that I'm good at. Um, I was thinking a month or two ago, I would go on Twitch, and there was a game on Twitch called Stray, where you're the point of view of a stray cat. And it was so laborsome, just even 20, 30 minutes playing that video game and just walking around with the cat. And I wasn't saying anything. The mic and everything was hooked up, but it was just like, oh, okay, like, this maybe people will start watching it because that's what happens. And, they watch on Twitch, you play video games, but I wasn't into it and I wasn't digging it. And like, who's gonna watch a VOD, like an older video of anybody, even me, playing a video game for 30 minutes if it's like a week or two old or a month old? Like, oh yeah, did you see Mr. G play that 30 minutes of that video game in February of 2022? Oh yeah, he didn't say anything. He just played for 30 minutes. That was awesome. No, 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 no. If any use of time, make it an efficient use of time. So instead of sitting there playing a video game for 30 minutes, you know what I'm fucking doing? I'm fucking speaking and talking for 30 minutes, and I'm doing what I'm good at. And this podcast right here, you listening to the sound of my voice, you can listen to this a week from now, a month from now, or 10 fucking years from now, and you can still get something from it. Nobody's going to watch a 30-minute clip of somebody playing a video game 10 years from now, but somebody can get something from this. Somebody can benefit something from this. And if you listened closely, I gave some very good fucking lessons in today's podcast as well. Know thyself has been voted the best piece of advice that anybody can give you. So, with that being said, as I wrap things up here, I'll say, know thyself. We all have a limited amount of time on this planet. It's a miracle that we even exist. It's a miracle that our paternal father sperm found our mother's egg. And out of the trillions of babies that could exist, we were the ones that made it. We were the ones that exist. 200 billion people have existed on this planet, but trillions and trillions and trillions of people have the possibility to exist. We're out here flinging around a star on a rock, going 1,000,000 miles per hour in the corner of the boondocks of the Milky Way galaxy. It takes 100,000 years for light to get from one side of the Milky Way to the other side of the Milky Way. 100,000 years just for light. If you're traveling the speed of fucking light to get from one side to the other. And as we know, nothing can travel the speed of light. But even if you could, it would take 100,000 years just to get from one side of the galaxy to the other. And do you know how many galaxies are stacked up right next to us in just the universe that we can see? Trillions of galaxies. And in each of those galaxies are billions and billions of stars. It's a number you can't wrap your head around. Out of those trillions in galaxies, we can't even get to the other side in 100,000 years, moving as fast as fucking possible, universally possible with the laws of physics. And it's just a miracle that we're all here. So let's just enjoy every moment. So I enjoyed, playing basketball and practicing every day. And I enjoyed, playing the guitar and practicing every day. But if you want to succeed in life, you need to know what you're good at. You need to fail to succeed. And that use of time, it wasn't the best use of time. It didn't put money in my pocket. It didn't put anything tangible for future people or individuals to gain or get anything from. So I've learned that lesson and I'm a better person. Thank you for listening. Everybody doing this every day, the Mr. G podcast, Google Mr. G podcast, Gregory Brandt, Honolulu, Hawaii. I appreciate all of you very much. And if you liked today's episode, you will love my book, Gonzo Education, available at a bookstore near you. You can get it on Amazon right now for $16. If you have Amazon Prime, it's free with Kindle. So Google my book, check out the reviews for yourself. It's going to be a bestseller. You want to be in early, just like this podcast. You can't say it's not good. Even my biggest fucking haters. Is this not good? Huh? Does this not sound good? Huh? Am I not fucking dropping dimes? Because I am. Because I fucking am. All right. Thank you for listening. Everybody have a great day. Aloha. I like potato salad.